Hey, hey! Welcome to Thorn's Jungle, the only podcast called Thorn's Jungle, apparently. How's everyone's week going? It's a Friday. Well, it isn't here in Australia. If you're in the US, then you're living in the past, man. We're a day ahead of yous. Yeah, I've had a cool week. I was out probably like 15, 20 minutes north of where I live, uh, doing my fauna relocations. So when um, land developers bulldoze bushland to build houses and stuff, I'll go out there and catch as many animals as I can and relocate them to a more permanent bushland. So I was doing that this week. And the first day I was out there, I cleaned up. It was like cold, windy, raining, and I managed to find 9 shingleback skinks and 1 blue tongue skink, which is awesome. Like, I really didn't expect to find anything on that day. And they were, well, 7 of them were like little babies, and the little blue tongue, the western blue tongue, was a baby as well. Like, they would have only been probably born within the last month or so. Because we're in spring at the moment. Now, what's cool about, cool and quite painful about, your shinglebacks and blue tongues. I mean, they're very closely related. They're in the same genus. So they don't lay eggs. The mum won't lay eggs. She'll give birth to live young. So they're born fully developed, basically like humans. And the mum will give birth to like anywhere from 1 to 3 babies, right? And each baby will weigh or be the size of 1/3 of her body. So these babies are 1/3 of the size of the mum, and she can have anywhere from 1 to 3. Could you imagine busting out 3 babies all weighing about 20 kilograms each, like 50 pounds? I don't think there's a pain index on the planet that would go high enough for that to register on. Poor mum, hey, bloody hell. And then the next day I found a couple, but it was cool because they were right in the line of the bulldozer, so that was, 11 lives saved. So that's really cool. It makes me happy. But yeah, looking at the animal news this week, somebody was killed by a kangaroo here in Western Australia, in Albany, just north of Albany. So it's like 4 hours from where I live. This guy had a kangaroo. I think it was his pet or it lived on his property or something. But it savagely beat him. Would have kicked him, things like that. And they got real long toenails, so it can do a lot of damage. And he was severely injured and called the paramedics. The paramedics came, and the kangaroo wouldn't let the paramedics near him to help him. So they couldn't perform any first aid on him because this kangaroo was being super hostile towards them. And unfortunately, the guy died. The kangaroo would not let the paramedics save this dude's life. And, I mean, kangaroos have killed people in the past in Australia. It has happened. It's so bloody rare, but it has happened. And I don't like to say any animal is really aggressive, if you know what I mean. But there are a few that will just outright show unwarranted aggression. Like kangaroos do it. I've had run-ins with kangaroos in the past. They've just seen me and come after me. We don't know what their what their motives are. They could have their motives where it's a defensive display. But it does seem unusual that they will go out of their way sometimes to come over to you just to beat the living daylights out of you. So yeah, that's a crazy tragedy that happened. Another thing that's going on is the reintroduction of Asiatic cheetahs. Well, not Asiatic cheetahs, but cheetahs just in general, to India. India used to have a population of Asiatic cheetahs, also known as the Iranian cheetah. They're a subspecies of the African cheetah. And they went extinct on India about 70 years ago. So they are introducing them back to parts of India. And it's caused a lot of controversy because, I mean, genetically they're a little different to the Asiatic cheetah. I mean, there's only like 100 left and they live in Iran. So obviously they can't take them out of that country and reintroduce them to India because then it would just absolutely stuff up the population in Iran. So they're introducing African cheetahs. Now, genetically, they're basically the same. Like the Asiatic cheetah is a subspecies of the African cheetah. But still, it's kind of like, should we not be focusing more on saving the animals we already have rather than introducing new animals back into certain countries? You know, like, for example, I went to India a few years ago to find the Asiatic lion. And at the time, there was only about 500 left. The population's grown, but they're running out of room. So why not introduce an animal that's already native to India and already exists? I mean, I know the Asiatic cheetah was native to India, but the African cheetah is not native to India, and that's what they're reintroducing. So why not reintroduce the Asiatic lion to parts of India where it once lived, rather than bringing in an African cheetah and reintroducing that? You know, I just think we should be focusing more on animals that we can save rather than focusing on animals that, you know, no longer exist in that area. That's just my thoughts. I mean, it is a bloody cool thing because if they introduce, which they already have, they've got 8 cheetahs ready for reintroduction into India. I think they've got 5 females and 3 males. So it's happening. Right, it's happening. It's going down. But it would be cool, you know, in a certain way, because if you think about it, India would therefore have tigers, lions, cheetahs. They've got hyenas. They've got striped hyenas. They've got bear. They got sloth bear. They've got bloody everything there. You know, that's pretty crazy to think. So yeah, I think they should be focusing more on other animals, but in that same vein, it is cool, and I'd love to see how this pans out. Yeah, so on to the main topic of this podcast, the Tsavo Man-Eaters. Now, a lot of people probably would have heard about the Tsavo Man-Eaters or the Tsavo lions, especially if they've ever seen the movie The Ghost and the Darkness with Val Kilmer and Michael Douglas. It's a sick movie, yeah. It's really cool. I remember when I was real young, my gran telling me about it because she had just seen it at the movies. And I was asking her so many questions about it, like about the lions and stuff. How big were they? Blah, blah, blah. Because I was too young to watch it because it was a pretty violent movie. So I was always wanted to see it. And then when I finally watched it, I was like, oh, wow, that's dope. And then when I found out it was based on a true story, that just made it even more cooler. Like, holy crap, this is insane. And it's one of those events that it's so crazy. Like, I can tell you about it. I can sit here and talk about it. But there are just so many details about this event. So I have to read it out because I off the top of my head, there's just so much bloody information on this, where I'm just going to miss some cool details. Because there are lots of events like this where a certain animal has become famous or infamous for attacking lots of people and being responsible for a lot of deaths. It's rare, but it does happen, and there are quite a few. You know, it started with the beast of, what is it, Gévaudan? Am I pronouncing that right? I was pronouncing it Gavorden, my typical Aussie accent. Yeah, it's the beast of Gavon, but I think it's like Gévaudan or something like that. I lack the French finesse. But that started. The beast of Gévaudan was like a couple hundred years ago, and since then there's been quite a few of these kind of rogue, quote unquote, attacks, where animals have become man-eaters. And there are certainly animals out there that are man-eaters, where human beings are on the menu, and a lion is one of them. It's an animal where it doesn't often, but it will see humans as prey. Tigers even more so, you know. So this event happened between March and December of 1898 in the Tsavo region of Kenya. Okay? Now, basically what they were doing is they were building the Kenya-Uganda Railway. And so they were linking Uganda with the Indian Ocean. And this bridge that they were building in Tsavo that went over the Tsavo River, they had like hundreds of workers, mainly from India. I think because like it was a British project and the British occupied India, so why not use them? And you know, we're not talking about good working conditions here. We're talking about very cheap manual labor, probably borderlining on slavery. Like they ain't going to be paid well, you know. But hey, work's work. And the dude that was responsible for this project, Lieutenant Colonel John Henry Patterson. So basically, they've been building this railway, and they get John Patterson in to oversee it. I think stuff was going wrong, and he had experience, so they called him in. And he was there for 2 days, and then the attacks started happening. Right? People are starting to get, you know, rock up dead. People are disappearing. And, you know, like, what's going on? Like, the workers are starting to think that this dude that's rocked up is bad luck. You know, as soon as he rocks up, stuff starts going south. So over the next 9 months, they're realizing that these are lions that are attacking these people. All right, during the night, and mainly during the night, people are being dragged out of their tents and eaten by lions. Okay, and they start to kind of narrow it down that maybe it's one lion doing this. So what they do is they start, it would be this is my opinion here, it would be very unusual for one lion to eat a man a night, right? Like, lions eat a lot of meat, but they will gorge, and like, that'll do them. If it was a female, if it was a lioness with cubs, then she would have to hunt more to feed the cubs, but generally speaking, lions wouldn't eat a human being a day. So this is kind of unusual. So people, and as well, this was happening so much where they actually got like the army involved, right? So they actually got officials to come in, because this was just getting out of control. So many people are dying each night, and the workers are getting scared. They want to quit. There's a big bloody ruckus going on. So they had to get actual army officers in to help out. And the district officer, as soon as he arrived and got off the train in Tsavo, he was attacked by a lion. Okay? He survived, but his assistant was killed. So this dude has these like massive claw marks down him and stuff, but he survived, but his assistant was killed. So he's like, all right, the officials are coming in, I'm going to sort this out. Steps off the train, boom, bloody lion attacks him. And then, after a while, they realize there's actually two lions. And not just one are going in through that boma at a time. It's actually two. Both of them are getting in on the act. So yeah, both of them started going in and attacking people and killing people. It was a killing spree. Alright? And after a while, they couldn't, once they realized that we can't kill these bloody lions, hundreds of workers fled. They just went, nah, screw this, we're out. We get paid like 2 slices of bread a day to work here. Like, why am I risking getting eaten by lions for like, what's, one step removed of slave labor? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So once these officials arrived, and after that, the army arrived, and after that official was mauled, they set up like a 20-man team to try hunt these lions. And Patterson set up a bunch of traps and would camp out in trees at night to try kill these lions. But he just couldn't do it. Like they would evade him, he would see them, and they were smart lions, right? Lions are in nature quite skittish animals. Like, you've seen videos of honey badgers like chasing lions off, right? But it just sounds like these Tsavo lions were just desperate, and we'll get into that later, into why they were killing people in this sort of manner. So they reckon over 100 people over this 8-month period were killed and eaten by these lions. These 2 lions. Alright? That's a lot of bloody people for lions to kill. That's 50 people a piece, right? Man, my stomach's growling. Hang on, I've been sipping this energy drink. That might be why. Hang on, let me take another sip. Alright. Okay. So, the hunt is on. The hunt for these lions. Eventually, alright, Patterson shot the first lion after 8 months of this killing spree. Okay? 8 months it took to kill these lions. How smart are these lions? Holy crap. You see fat dentists go out and shoot a lion in bloody 10 minutes. But hey, that's canned hunting, man. That's a bit different. But these lions evaded a lot of hunters for 8 months and just continued to snatch people out of their tents. And if you've seen The Ghost in the Darkness, the camp looks a lot smaller than what it actually was in real life. This camp had to facilitate hundreds of people. Okay, so this camp spread out over like 8 miles. It's about 13 kilometers. So it was a spread out camp. So yeah, there would have been some gaps in the fence, for these lions to get in and snag a few people. And another thing as well, it was majority Indian workers, but there were also African workers there. But what was weird is, although most of the workers were Indian, the lions preferred the Africans. How's that? Weird, eh? It's like, I guess, like, I don't want to sound horrible or anything, but lions are more accustomed to eating African people because that's what they're used to. So I don't know, it kind of makes sense. Like, they stick to what they know, and that's eating the locals, except, not eating the Indians. But, that's just in general, like a lot of Indians were eaten as well. So anyway, Patterson managed to shoot the first lion. 1 bullet with a high caliber rifle, right? It hit the lion in its back leg. But the lion got away. And it actually came back that night and began to stalk Patterson while he was trying to hunt it to finish it off. So this lion's just been bloody shot in the hind leg. And it's like, oh, you got me. All right, Patterson, I'm coming for you, mate. You're hunting me, I'm hunting you. But because it was wounded, obviously Patterson managed to get the upper hand on that, and he shot it through the shoulder and it got it straight in the heart. And he actually used a more powerful rifle, so yeah, he shot it dead. I mean, he shot it and it ran off, so it didn't die instantly, but they later found its dead body not far from where he shot it. The second lion, okay, the second one had to be shot 9 times. 5 of those bullets were from the same rifle, so 9 bullets to take this thing down. Now, whether or not all 9 bullets penetrated the lion, I don't know. You know, they could have been like, oh, I shot it 9 times, it still didn't go down. But it's like, yeah, but you missed 8 times. You know, and they just don't want to sound like they missed. But hey, hang on, what's this? So, okay, I need to read this because this is confusing. 6, okay. So it was shot up to 9 times, 5 with the same rifle, 3 with a second, and once with a third rifle. That's a lot of people firing at this bloody cat. 6 finding their mark. Okay, so 6 bullets went in. The first shot was fired from atop a scaffolding that Patterson had built near a goat killed by a lion. 2 shots from a second rifle hit the lion 11 days after it was stalking Patterson and trying to flee. How does that work? Wait. The second lion was shot up to 9. How the fuck does that... What, so it didn't die? The shots that from the second rifle hit the... Is this 9 times over an 11-day period this thing was shot? It sounds like it might be the case, because 11 days as it was stalking Patterson and trying to flee. When they found the lion the next day, Patterson shot it 3 more times with the same rifle, severely crippling it. It's not done? Okay, 6 times it's been shot, then 11 days later, he shoots it 3 more times. And he just cripples it. What the fuck? What is with this lion? Holy crap. And then he shot it 3 times with a third rifle, twice in the chest and once in the head, which killed it. Okay, so it was shot 11 times. 6 plus 3, 9. It was shot on another 3, so it was shot 12 times. 12 times it took to get this fucking thing dead. He said he claimed it died gnawing on a fallen tree branch, still trying to reach him. I don't know about that, but hey, you know, I could see it gnawing on a tree branch because it's probably in a lot of pain after being shot 12 times. So, finally, the Tsavo Man-Eaters have been taken down. Okay? Now, what's interesting about these lines are, which, obviously, The Ghost in the Darkness is a movie, so it's kind of like a loosely based movie on the actual events. But in the movie, they're using these big male lions with big manes and stuff. But the lions of Tsavo actually are maneless. They don't have manes. They look just like a lioness, but a bit bigger. And theories about this is because in Tsavo there's a lot of scrub for manes to get caught in. So they've kind of developed or evolved, so to speak, no manes. And I guess that would account for how they got into the bomas easier. They could actually get through narrower spaces without getting caught on thorns and everything. So that's interesting. So if you picture these lions, they don't look like your typical male lion. And they were both male. They just looked like lionesses. But after the second one was shot, an estimated 130 people had been killed by these two cats. That is a bucket load of people, right? The first lion that was killed measured 9 foot 8 inches, 2.95 meters from nose to the tip of the tail. That's a decent sized lion. You know, that's a big lion. And it took 8 men to carry the carcass back to camp. It's filled up on all that human meat. You know, they're well-fed bloody lions at this point. Now, why did these lions decide to prey on humans? I mean, apart from the obvious that humans are fairly weak, unarmed, you know, a human is, out of all the animals, like, what can we do? Without a weapon in our hand, what can we do? Yeah, we can fight if you're good at fighting and well trained at fighting. But an animal that's bigger and stronger than you, with gigantic canine teeth and equipped with 5 2.5-inch claws on each paw, you don't stand a chance without a weapon, right? So obviously humans make a good target, but humans also, most of the time, have weapons and a way of defending themselves. So what made these lions come into this camp relentlessly killing people? There's actually a few theories. Now, one of the theories was an outbreak of rinderpest, which is like a cattle disease, which actually devastated a lot of livestock. And lions take livestock. So maybe these lions, because they had run out of cattle to eat, decided to go after people. You know? Another theory is that these lions were used to eating dead humans because the Tsavo River, a lot of the slave caravans and stuff like that in East African slave trade from Zambia always crossed the river there, and I guess they just dumped a lot of the bodies in that river, and you know, they'll wash up and the lions would eat them. But there is an argument which I find the most interesting, because it's like it makes a lot of sense. When these lions were examined post-mortem, they found severe tooth disease in one of them, and it had spread to the bone and everything like that. You could even see on the skull that there was something going on with this lion's tooth, and it would have impeded its hunting abilities. If it's catching an ungulate, you know, like a zebra, wildebeest, something like that, those things bloody kick. They're fast at running. They are a lot stronger than a human being. It takes a lot of energy to take down prey that size and that muscled. And if you've got a bad tooth, you know, that's gonna compromise that. Latching onto, you know, the throat or any part of that animal, it's gonna take a lot of effort if you have a really badly messed up tooth. So one of the lions had a really bad tooth, so that would account for one of them. But what normally happens with male lions, if they're not like, you know, king of the castle, if don't have their own pride, a lot of the times you get like bachelor groups where you get 2 nomadic males that roam. So if one of them's got like a messed up tooth and is eating people, then, you know, the other one's probably like, hey, this guy's getting a lot of food here, maybe I'll join in. You know, so one of them's got a messed up tooth and the other one's like, all right, I'll come along for the ride. I can go a few people. But Patterson actually disclaimed it because he reckons the tooth was damaged by a rifle. But, you know, I don't think it was just like a chipped tooth. And a study in 2017 actually let me read this, because I need to start reading, because I mean, what I've told you is basically just off my general knowledge, but I am looking at notes here, and it says here, a 2017 study carried out by a team of Dr. Bruce by the team of Dr. Bruce Patterson found that one of the lions had an infection at the root of his canine tooth, which made it hard for that particular lion to hunt. Jaws to grab prey like zebras and wildebeest. What the hell? That's exactly what I just said. Yeah. So it looks like there was a infection or a disease in one of those teeth. And another interesting thing as well is that the claim of 130 people that were killed may have been exaggerated a bit. Okay? Now, they looked at... all right. The bodies of these lions were turned into a rug for Patterson's floor, okay? But those old school rugs where the skull's still in it? So after a while, after Patterson died, they took the pelts, the skins, and they stuffed mount. And later, scientists did analysis on the, I guess the bones, or the hair keratin, or bone collagen and hair keratin, okay? And what they can do is they can look at certain, I guess, carbons or something, like an isotopic signature that would indicate that it's eating not herbivorous animals like their normal prey would be, but more like omnivores and carnivores, I guess. And they came to the conclusion that the human count was more like 35 people that these lions killed. One of the lions, and they've narrowed this down quite a lot, okay? They estimate that one of the lions ate equivalent to 10.5 humans, and the second lion ate 24.2 humans. So I guess they ate a person and maybe an arm, or an arm and a leg, right? But then, see, these estimates are always, they're always up in the air. Of course, it was probably exaggerated a little bit, but, these pelts have been stood on. They've had the shit beaten out of them. How stable are these collagen structures and isotopic structures in these hairs and bone, right? So I guess it's an estimate. And Patterson did say that a lot of the attacks went unreported as well. So that's indicating that it's more than 130 people or whatever. But realistically, over an 8-month period, these lions killing like 30, 35 people would make more sense to me. Killing 150 people in 8 months is a bit of a stretch for me. But hey, you never know. So it's anywhere from 35 people to 150. Okay? Or maybe more. It's still a lot of people. For 2 lions to be responsible for the deaths of that many people, regardless if it's 150 or 35, that's still a shitload of people. And you can see these lions. They're actually on display at a museum. Hey, let me just see what museum that is. Hold on a minute. Chicago's Field Museum. Yeah, and you can actually see photos of the dead lions as well. And what sucks as well, the stuffed specimens in the museum don't do these lions any justice. Okay, they look ratty as all hell. Because the skin was beaten up and they were floor rugs for ages. It doesn't do these lions any justice. It kind of takes away a lot of the majesty. These lions, they just look kind of like skinny, ratty lions. But if you actually see the photos of the lions when they were first, gorgeous looking maneless lions, big ass lions. So yeah, pretty crazy. Like, to sum it up, lions ate a whole bunch of people that were just trying to do their jobs constructing a bridge. And if you haven't seen the movie, I suggest you do. Val Kilmer plays Patterson, an Irishman, and try to ignore the really bad Irish accent Val Kilmer puts on. it's great. And actually, I've been wanting to see this movie. It's out at the cinemas now. What's it called? Beast. It's called Beast, and it's got what's his name? Idris Elba. I think that's his name. But I guess it's very similar to The Ghost in the Darkness. It's about a rogue lion, basically killing people. And I hell want to see it because I love animal movies like that. You know, my favorite movie is Anaconda. I love Deep Blue Sea. And we're kind of lacking movies now that are just animal attack movies. Straightforward. I mean, look at Anaconda. It's just called Anaconda. It's just about a fucking anaconda killing people. And I think this is... I mean, there's obviously Jurassic Parks have come out and stuff, but like, not just that's a variety of dinosaurs. I'm talking about an animal attack movie that's just about one animal messing people up. And they released one recently, and I hell want to see it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And I hope you watch the movie because it's a cool movie. And as well, in the next week or so, I'm hoping to get Caveman Rob on, and we're gonna do a few episodes talking about Kings of Pain and basically behind the scenes stuff, because you know what you watch on TV is just the tip of the iceberg of what actually goes on in a production like that, and all the funny antics that go on behind the scenes. And yeah, so it's going to be cool reminiscing with Rob about all that. So that's going to be really cool. And don't forget to subscribe if you already haven't. And yeah, give the podcast a rating, because the more ratings I get on the podcast, and it goes higher up on the algorithm, I guess, and more people can find it. And the more people that find it, then you know I can just do better podcasts. I can do them more often, things like that. So it does help. And tell your friends about me. All right, everyone, have an awesome weekend.